Alright guys, this is episode 17 of The Exchange with Sunil Prasad. Today I got three awesome guests. They're from Matrixx. Is it Matrixx Financial? Matrixx Group?
So Matrixx Group is the top name, and then we have Matrixx Financial, then Matrixx Real Estate.
So guys, Matrixx is a mortgage and a real estate company in Vancouver. Actually, they're in Surrey, BC, just outside of Vancouver. And there's three of us here, actually four, including me. So just going to go around the room, introduce ourselves, and then go from there. Sunny.
I am Sunny Sarai, one of the directors at Matrixx.
My name is Satpal. I'm also one of the directors at Matrixx Group.
My name is Ranj. I'm one of the brokers who recently joined Matrixx this year.
Perfect, guys. So how did Matrixx get started? So you two are partners, right? Or
Correct.
Yes, and then we have two other partners, Gary and Raj as well.
Yeah.
So Raj brought this idea to us about blending the real estate side and the finance side. Especially with the finance side, we did some business together, and just bringing all the expertise and Raj's development and real estate background all in one house. But the big thing was like doing business, but also about personal growth as well. Because if your personal stuff is not together, like we were talking about, business is just gonna suck. So we were thinking about bringing that all in house, creating systems just to make it business more easy. But still you work hard, but just make it fun. Yeah, so that's how the idea kind of started.
yeah, we had a lot of conversations over the last 2 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Year and a half, 2 years for sure. And a lot. I think when we both left the meetings, it was never about mortgage or real estate or finance. It was always personal development, personal growth,
Absolutely.
leadership, and just things like that, right? And that's I think that's what a lot of businesses today, especially in the mortgage business and also real estate business, is actually losing, is because there's no real leadership there or self-development there.
100%. I think more and more you're starting to see that separation from the sale to everything's relationship now, right? If you manage your relationship with yourself really well, your partners are all managing themselves well, that culture around you is good, then you're starting to see that leak onto the business side, where more people now, they just want to know that you're going to pick up the phone if something goes wrong. There's so much uncertainty in the market, whether you're on the real estate side, the mortgage side, or whatever it is, that most clients, obviously there's some people that are still 100% directed to just get me this and get me this rate or whatever, but I'm finding a larger group of people coming up just want to know that if something comes up, are you going to pick up the phone? And if you are that person, it's nice to have other people like that around you as well to help support if there are any gaps in knowledge or whatever it is.
It's building the heart. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's basically like it is like if you look at the real estate or mortgage industry, it's like self-employed, pretty much. Like you're out for yourself, or it's commission based, so it's more individual type of deal. But with us, with Matrixx, what we're gonna do is get everyone together, lean on each other. There might be times where one guy's going through a rough patch, or he needs help with either personal or his business, and they can kind of lean on us, and we can provide that support. So it's more about supporting each other, encouraging each other, and growing each other's business.
There's a movie, Dylan, was it Active Vulture or something? That movie we were just talking about a couple of days ago.
Movie?
Yeah.
Active Valor, I think.
Active Valor?
Active Valor, I think it's called.
Okay, remember that right before they're going to war, they're all at that beach, and the captain goes, guys, fix your shit right now at home. If you got wife problems, you got husband problems, you got financial problems, deal with it right now, because when we're in war, right, we don't need that stuff affecting us. Let's get the shit dealt with, right? I like every single morning I wake up, that's the thing I work on. Like, what's fucking bugging me right now? Deal with that shit, right? If it's gonna be, if I can deal with it right away, deal with it right away. If it's gonna affect me for a long term, let's start fixing it right now.
100%.
Right? And that's all it is. There's nothing. I bottle shit up a lot of times when I was younger, and what happens is, you take like Coke and Pepsi, whatever it is.
It leaks everywhere.
It leaks, but here's the thing: when you start
strange.
shaking it, right, and then you just open it up, you fucking blow. I used to blow up, man.
Yeah.
And I'm fine for like 6 months, and then all of a sudden, like I'm blowing up, and I'm violent.
Yeah.
Right? Violent as in not beating somebody, but like I'm talking shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is hurting a lot of people. So as long as you got that taken care of in the beginning, and the heart's there, and you're fixing stuff. It's a good team. It's the way it works.
I think the hardest thing too is, just getting into business in general. Like, there's so much to learn, right? And we're always, I can speak from my experience. I was so focused on, Pareto's principle, 80-20. 20% gets you 80% of your results. I was so focused on the stuff I was not good at, and putting energy there. Where once I one of my friends, he's on the real estate side of Matrixx. Another partner, he's on the real estate side. And the big thing was to double, triple down on what you're good at. You know? So, I mean, if for me, I don't know every single way on how to structure a deal. We were talking about this earlier, right? Like, I know one niche really well. I don't know another side, but I'm still getting that business coming to me. Why not leverage an underwriter? Why not leverage another partner? Why not bring somebody else? You don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
If you're the relationship guy, be the relationship guy. If you're this person, be that person. So I think a lot of times we want to be everything, but when we actually cut back and we just focus on the one or two things that we're good at, we really develop that side, it takes a lot of that pressure away. Because for me, whenever I was like, I don't know this, that feeling would build up inside, like, I'm a piece of shit, what am I gonna do? Oh my god.
That anxiety.
Well, because you build up so much anxiety, and that just kind of keeps building up over time, and then slowly a client's gonna know, like, hey man, this guy doesn't really know how to do the deal, or you get somebody to do it in the background, and you kind of still look like the expert, right?
Yeah.
But I think, like, it's just like leaning on each other. And if that anxiety is building up, man, you're gonna fucking blow up.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
gonna-
and sometimes it's easier to relate, like, instead of telling your partner at home, which you should. But sometimes like, they don't understand you.
Yeah, but a lot
They
of
don't
times you
understand
don't
you.
want to take that home, right?
No,
Yeah,
and,
There's-
and they don't understand that because they're not in the industry themselves.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
easier to lean on to one of these guys and say, hey, this is what's going on. And then, you know what, they can kind of talk you down and off that ledge kind of thing when you're really ready to blow, right? So that's very helpful, I find.
Yeah.
To your point there, every business needs three. They need. I'm just gonna go mortgage the mortgage business, right? You got the seller, right?
Yeah.
They're great at sales. They're a people person, right? They hate the underwriting side, the paperwork. Then you have the underwriter that focuses on underwriting. Then you have the other side, which is the long-term relationship, right? The one that builds that.
Yeah.
It's a 3-people team,
Yeah.
right? And most people don't want to hire because of financial reasons, right? Like, okay, can I afford it or not, right? But the thing is, yes, you can, because you bring somebody else in. You have more time to focus on what you're good at. They have more time focusing on what they're good at. And all of a sudden, your business starts growing,
Yeah.
right? It's just taking that jump is very
It grows
hard.
exponentially too. And just like how we were talking about earlier, like your mortgage business, you have a system now where you come in, it takes a certain amount of time, but now you're doubling, tripling down on other areas that are affecting your business exponentially.
Yeah.
And I think once we give ourselves permission, one, to actually have conversations like this and get a little bit outside of our own social circles and our own business circles to be like, yo, this is really working well for Sunil. Why don't I give this a shot? Because oftentimes I find we might take advice from somebody who their whole style, their personality is completely different, and we're measuring ourselves up to them. We're completely two different things.
Yeah.
One's a cat, one's a dog,
Yeah.
right? We're just two different roles. So, you know, this whole thing about personal development and really finding out your skill set, who you are, you know, what your triggers are, and then putting the right systems all around that, it makes it so much easier. Right? I'm getting married this year. You just had a baby. You just had a baby. We're leaning on each other just to be like, listen, if a deal comes in right now and I don't want to spend time dealing with it, I'm just going to introduce Satpal and be like, hey, here's my partner. He's a construction expert or whatever it is. He'll take care of it. But at the end of the day, if you're unsure, you don't want to give him a call directly, just call me. We'll figure it out. And we're finding a lot of success that way, even on the business side. Just
So it comes down to self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
Having that, like, what
Yeah.
you're good at, what ticks you off, what doesn't, what drives you, like, knowing that. But also, it's the ego. A lot of people don't want to give that deal away, right?
Yeah.
Here's a lot of things. I'm in the private mortgage business, and I have a ton of investors, right? So I can get deals done. But a lot of them don't want to send the deal over, right? Because they know there's going to be another person involved, right? That's an ego thing.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you put that aside, like, okay, you know what? This, I have an issue. I have a problem. Let me deal with it.
Yeah.
Because like, we're two middle people, right? What's good for the client?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Like, what's good for the client?
Well, see, I think you know what happens in situations like that. We kind of run into, like, say we're in a co-broker deal, and the first question is like, "Hey man, what's your fee going to be?" Like, my question is like, "Hey, how are we going to help the client?" Because what people are just saying, "Hey, this is the pie. Oh, Sunil's going to eat 75% of it." Or instead, we help the client out. We eat a little piece of the pie. Client's happy. Client's like, "Hey man, you did a fucking wicked job. Here's another client.
Yeah.
Now you get a little pie."
Exactly.
Right.
That's the way it should work.
It's a long-term base.
It's that abundance mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we work like that. That's why there's a lot of deals going back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, one going back, but it's just not my. It's not the market. It's not my market.
Yeah.
He said he invited you just to roast you.
I know, I guarantee it. We tried.
Never. So even my sister, like, she wanted to go get a mortgage, didn't even call me.
Yeah.
Right, because they don't know what I do. Well, they know I don't do this A side, right? It's just not my market,
Yeah.
and so that's why I don't get these deals that come in.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, guys, background. Like, you guys came from the business world. Like, what's banking? Like, what's
Banking, yeah. For myself, I started off with I went to school, believe it or not, to become a cop. I went, did a criminal justice program at Langara.
Sorry to cut you off, man.
Yeah.
We were just talking about having a cop on the show.
Oh, did you?
You get out 2 birds on one stone. There you go.
So yeah, I went to Langara, did the criminal justice program. As I got through the program and graduated, I just kind of reflected, and it wasn't the lifestyle for me. Just the shift work and just all the stuff that you dealt with. I wanted to do something more positive. I just randomly started working at Van City. There was an opening, started working as a teller, worked there, worked my way up as an account manager, moved on over to Envision Financial, was an account manager there, and then it was about 2010, and one of my cousins was a broker with DLC. He was a top 50 broker in Canada and did very well. He's like, hey, like, you're doing mortgages for the bank, like, you're getting paid what? He goes, I make that sometimes in one deal. Like, why don't you come work with me? I'll teach you. I'm like, sure. Took the leap of faith, and I did it actually the year I was getting married, so it was kind of scary. So a lot of expenses plus taking that leap of faith of no set income. But I learned off of him. He helped me a lot in the first couple of years, and then from there I got an opportunity with Dominion Lending Center's head office. I worked for a division called Plan B Mortgage Services. So they handled all the turn down business from the Dominion agents all across Canada. So I literally did all the Alt-A private mortgages. From BC to Newfoundland, I've funded deals all over the place. We had a really extensive list of private lenders, investors, clients, all over the place, which was nice. So we did a lot of that co-brokering. So built a lot of relationships, a lot of lending relationships as well. And then from there, that's when I met up with Satpal, and Gary kind of broke off on our own thing and started our original mortgage brokerage called Pacific Northwest Mortgage Corporation, and then from there we became Matrixx Group.
Yeah. So for me, I wasn't in the business world at first. Like, I was studying to become a dentist. I was working as a dental hygienist first. Wanted to go into dentistry, but then I was like thinking about all the tuition costs, and like, oh man, I got to go back and like do all this schooling, and then. In that meantime, while I was working, I got my insurance license for life and disability. So in that first week, I wrote quite a bit of business. I'm like, man, this is not bad.
Nobody can say no when their mouth is open and cleaning it, right? You're really doing some critical here, bud.
Some critical, and you get free floss.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I was like, you know what? I really got to get some like education behind the financial planning. I love the planning and the number side. So I went back to BCIT, did my financial planning diploma, got my CFP designation, which is Certified Financial Planner. Then I was recruited at one of the credit unions. But being one of the only East Indian guys at a Caucasian-dominated institution, and we Punjabis, we love lending and mortgages, right? For us, it's easier to give them money than to take it.
Yeah.
So for me, like, I dealt with most of the East Indian clients. All I did, even though I was a financial planner, 99% of the time I did lending. So I kind of fell in love with that side of the industry. Even though I was only doing residential, I would see like all the commercial deals as well. And that kind of intrigued me a little bit more, because I was always like pushing to learn a little bit more. Then that's after about 2 years, I made the jump to become a broker. And it was probably one of the best decisions after, because got to like being a broker, it's a different world out here, right? Like, it's a different type of clientele, but it's been awesome so far.
You look like a dentist.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. You look like a cop.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at it, man.
Wonder what you're gonna
I started off at the bank 2006, 2007. My mom's been in banking for like almost 30 some odd years now. So she started off as a teller, worked her way up, and I was at a point in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted to do. At that time, I was kickboxing heavy. I was a Western Canadian kickboxing champion. Used to always get in trouble at work because I'd have black eyes. My nose was bent one way. And I just talked to my mom, and she's like, yo, why don't you give this a try? Like, people are making good money and they're doing this, and you know, She had the personality test at home. So she's like, just take the test. So I did this test, and she's like, this is like the ideal type of thing that we would hire for. So right away, I'm like, I'm gonna kill it. I'm the man. Did the test, did everything. But the first 2 years were super hard for me. I mean, I was really doubting myself quite a bit. A lot of different things were happening, and I went from one bank to another bank, and then all the business I was getting was all alternative. My dad was a director at Yellow Cab at the time. They're building houses, they're doing this. They don't show any income. I'm trying to get these deals done. They weren't working. So naturally, my progression went from just wanting to do mortgages just to allow me to kickbox and give me enough time to do that, to seeing a big opportunity, to really doubting if it was something for me. And then I learned about the alternative and private side. And, you know, I saw a whole different side of business that we don't really talk about. So I've been focused on that for the last couple years, 2.5, 3 years. And then that's on the brokering side. And slowly, I think as you get involved with it and you start to see more things, your eyes start to open up. So this year's been a huge year for me as far as just reorganizing my business, re-strategizing, because, you know, once I think you really spend that time to look at what your dominant skills are and how you can really personify those and bring that into a market instead of trying to be somebody else, it gives you permission to play in a whole different way. And when you come with that energy, like I've noticed it's completely different. You know, some people say, oh, you got to grind 14, 16, 18 hours a day or whatever it is. But I mean, if you're having meaningful conversations and people can actually feel you're 100% present with them, that over time I'm finding is what's really compounding. Where instead of calling 100 people and asking for a deal, just calling someone and be like, yo, like, what's going on? What can I help you with? And letting them know what I'm doing, it's opening so many different doors. So just learning to play with the brokering, you know, with the game that we have in a different way, it's pretty rewarding, and who knows where it's going to end up.
All conversations should go that way, adding value. You know, when you phone them up, right? Ask how the kids are doing, right? Or, you know, something to do with the wedding, or always add value, you know, see what's going on instead of the sales call. Nobody wants those calls.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants those calls. And it's good that you touched on that.
It's different. I mean, it's a different approach, because I think we're always told, you know, you got to be a hunter, you got to do this, you got to do that. But if you're really playing a game for the long term and people know that you care,
it's relationship building.
Relationships.
Yeah.
You know, one business, man, is building relationship.
Yeah.
That's it.
Forget what industry you're in.
Yeah.
It's all the same. I had a conversation with this another business owner a couple hours ago. She goes, "You know a lot about business." I'm like, "No, I don't. I just know specific. You know, I'm great at one thing. I don't know how to run other businesses, but it all comes down to like how you treat the people, what your product is. At the end of the day, product really doesn't matter, right? All it does is like, how are you treating your own employees, and then how they are treating the clients, right? Or partners or whatever that is. That's all it comes down to. And where's the issue? This is the issue. How do we fix it?
Yeah.
How do we work on it? Like, what, you know, what's the best advice you can give? That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
It's business 101, really, because at the end of the day, people buy people. They don't really the product is a byproduct.
Yeah.
It is
of what you do.
Yeah, but the brand will always. Here's the thing: we were talking about this earlier. A broker will always lose to the bank, right? Because those banks have built brand.
Yeah.
Correct.
If the broker does not build that reputation in the beginning, they're gonna lose it. They will lose it to a brand, because brand has been built from TD and Scotiabank or JP Morgan or Citi from day one. From when the kid was 5 years old, when they opened their first bank account,
That's
right? Their first credit card they got, their first loan that they got, business loan, mortgage, everything.
People are indoctrinated with it. You ask them, like, oh, why this bank? I've been there since day one. My
Exactly.
dad put me there.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like, that doesn't make any sense. You're paying like way more over there than over here, but it's my dad.
It's
bought
my
me.
dad. Yeah.
Well, it's not even that.
Yeah.
You know what? For me, the most important, what's it called, paper I had when I was younger was that bank book.
Yeah.
Right? I can still sliding in, opening up. Holy shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the happiest times, right? Because you have birthdays, you have something, you have a paycheck that comes in, because I was, you know, doing a lot of things when I was younger. Take it to the bank, you give it to them, and they make you feel good. It's like, oh my, how old are you? 12. Wow, you got this much in your account. You look it up like, holy shit, right? This is damn good.
Yeah.
Then my dad would look at it and be like, that's it.
Give me more.
Talking about growing up confused, right? You go there, they're like, you're doing great, you come back home. You're like, no, man. Do more.
He's firing you up, man.
Yeah,
He's firing you up.
100%.
But that's the brand that they built.
We got so many different opportunities and different tools that we can leverage now as well. Like we were talking about it just with social media. You know, how through, you can get a feel. I watched a couple of your podcasts before coming here because I already knew if I do that, I'm already going to kind of have a feel for you. It makes it so much easier to talk and connect. And that's a big point I think a lot of people are missing is that, you know, leveraging a podcast, leveraging Instagram, leveraging Facebook. You know, people are seeing what you do, and even if they might know you through somebody else, when they see you, they're that much more inclined to have a conversation with you. And it's so much easier to build that relationship rather than just being super cold or not posting anything, right?
Or complaining.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing right now is everyone's complaining, right? It's
the market's
whatever
slow.
it is. Market's slow.
Everyone's blaming the market all
Right,
day.
but blame yourself because you never have done anything.
That was
right?
your last post that you put up, right? Like people are complaining, the stress test, or like nobody's calling me, the market's really slow. Like just pick up the phone, like just call everybody. Like if you're building relationships, keep building those relationships because you never know. You call somebody, they might be like, hey man, like I'm good, but my brother, man, he can't get his deal done. Can you help him out?
Yeah, that's it.
Right? Instead of just sitting scrolling on IG and just nobody's liking my photos.
I had a call from your office today.
Yeah.
Right? They were just asking about a mortgage, and we just started chatting. He's like, "Hey, I got this other deal. Can I run it by you?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead. Run it by me." I called my investors. Like, "Yeah, I like it."
Yeah, it is.
One call.
Yeah.
One call.
One call, yeah.
Right?
The challenge is though, it's when things are good and things are falling in your lap, you start to think you're much smarter than you are. When our business is simple, pick up the phone, reach out to people. You don't know how to do a deal, leverage a partner, leverage somebody
Because
else.
they think it's too good for them now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right? It's like when I started in the mechanic business, I wanted to be a cop too.
Oh, nice.
My dad was a corrections officer,
Nice.
and he's like, my kid's not doing that. He's like, because of the shift work and your weekends and evenings you're gone, you don't have time with your family. You're around with the most negative people.
Yeah.
Like, gave me shit. I left. So that was good. Went to mechanics. Went to BCIT. Did 2 years there. Sorry, did a year there, and then got a job at Ford. Got to Ford. Big ego. Fuck, I know how to rip this. I know how to do this. I know how to put transmissions together.
Yeah.
Go wash a car. Fuck.
Yeah.
What do you mean you gotta wash a car? You gotta go wash cars now. Right? So you started washing cars for like 4 or 5 months. And then you go and start sweeping the floors and then oil changes. Your ego got hit. My ego got hit hard right there, right? Like, and you know, you gotta get down to the ground and fix that shit up. And I think a lot of the people that think that, you know, they made 1 or 2 deals, trust me, you got it from working, you know, pounding the pavement, not where you are, right? So you gotta continue doing the same thing.
Well, I think, but a lot of people are missing that, right? Like doing the real grunt work, hitting the pavement, and I think like in this day, and everybody wants it to be easy. Like when the going gets tough, everybody just wants to back out. But those are the times that make you actually like really strong, right? And it's just like I know like. Wouldn't say like the biggest thing for me was like fear, like hey, like I'm a dental hygienist, but I was like, hey, my market for insurance is gonna be dental hygienist, right? Because I'm like, yeah, I work in that industry, how hard could it be? But then I was like, you know what, like I gotta expand my network, right? It's like if I call into a dental office, they're gonna be like, hey, are you booking a cleaning? Like, no, man, like I am a hygienist trying to sell some insurance. No, but for me, it was like, you know what? I made a pamphlet. I drove, like, just walked into random dental offices, and be like, hey, this is my offering. But I would stand there with that fear. Like I would sometimes walk into an office, stand there, I'm like, fuck, man, I shouldn't do it. Just get back in your car.
Yeah, fear, rejection, right?
Yeah, but then I was like, screw it. What's the worst thing to say is no.
Exactly.
I'm like, hey, this guy's like trying to do like 2 industries. I'm like, I don't care what they say. You never know what's gonna come out of it. So I think that grunt work kind of really built my base. Like, get rid of that fear.
10 years ago when I first started mortgage business, I got on the, I wasn't big on emails or anything like that, on the phone, right? I'll look at a listing, right? Commercial listing, I'll pick up the phone, contact the realtor, and pitch, right? First talk, pitch, right? Kept doing that, but that's what built everything. It's exactly what it takes to build, right? It's just that hard work that happens. Nobody wants to do that. And then the thing here was, every time I go down the numbers, like, God, I gotta fucking tell tell me to fuck off.
Yeah.
In 10 years, one person told me to screw off.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6 months later, I gave the same guy a call. He gave me a deal.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even know he told me to screw off back then. But there was probably something happening with that person. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the rejection is like going to a club back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, she's going to turn me down. She's going to turn me down.
Yeah.
What happens? Like, they don't say anything. Like, I
Well,
didn't talk
kids,
to
2
them.
weeks later, you see with the uglier guy. You're like, God damn! Oh man!
Well, now like nobody has to even go to the club. They got Tinder and stuff.
Yeah, it's swipe, man.
Swipe.
Swipe.
Yeah.
We got some questions.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of questions from our community, so we'll just
Yeah.
respond. So just jump in, guys. Whoever wants to answer it, go ahead. We'll have
Sounds
2
good.
cents in it.
My dad is a branch manager and mortgage lender, and he hired me to run his social media pages. He's recently asked that I start doing Facebook ads for him, and I have no idea what I'm doing. He knows this, but would rather I try it out first before going directly to outsourcing the job. I'd love to be able to take this on, but I definitely need guidance. What advice do you have for someone totally inexperienced and in a market with lots of regulations?
For something like that, like I would find out what your dad's target market is for audience. If he's after a certain niche, like if it's say self-employed individuals, you want to gear your value add type of posts towards self-employed individuals. I don't know. That's the advice that I would give. I think that would give you the beginning, like of direction where to go, and then you kind of just build off that. If that doesn't work, then you just retweak it. I think.
Then the easiest the easiest way to do it is just find somebody else in the industry that's doing it in a way that you like it.
Yeah,
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, their audience might be completely different than the audience that, like you said, your dad might be going for. But at the same time, it takes a lot of thinking off your plate, and it just gets you into action mode. I think once you start taking a little bit of action, then it's easier to become creative once those wheels are turning, right?
The biggest thing is, research people who are already in the industry. You can research our page or our podcast, and there's others out there too. But again, she mentioned her dad was a branch manager, so maybe check with, dad first before you post anything, because it might be with regulations, FICOM regulations. You got to be careful of what you actually put out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, for me, I would, especially if your dad is a branch manager, they probably already have some type of ad that's created. I would just talk to your dad to find out what audience he wants to target, find the geographic area, and then find what your dad's budget is. What we do here at TFS is, let's just say our budget is $1,000 for the month. I will run $500 against Facebook ad, Instagram ad, and then I'll see. And then underneath that, I would actually have different sectors. Different sections. And one would be age, one would be demographic. So we'll run anywhere between 4 to 6. See the one that's doing the best, or even 2, and then take the other half of your spend money, of the money that you have sitting aside, and run heavily against those 2 demographic.
Yeah, that's smart.
Next question from Erica. How many years did it take you to finally see consistency in your pipeline? How many years of grinding did it take for you to say, I got this?
For me, the first time I saw it was just 90 days of consistency. And I still have it in my it was August of 2016. It was every day I knew that yellow was a call. So for myself, I created visual triggers. I'm a visual learner. So I have a Gmail calendar. I have all the color coordinated and stuff. So if I go back, I can look and see, okay, month over month, this month was heavy on calls. Those calls turn to meetings. Those meetings turn to deals. And it's a visual, easy thing for me to see. So I would say it doesn't take years. It just takes, I'd say 90 days to 120 days, but of consistent activity. And you just got to find a way that's easy for you to look and actually see if the data is working. For me, it's, like I said, just a simple Gmail calendar. Calls are color coordinated in yellow. Yellow turns to orange, which is a meeting. Red turns to a deal. Once it funds, it's green. And so I can just look at my calendar and I know right away. So that really helped me. But it did take a little bit of playing around with, but I know that before that I had given up a bunch of times on making calls consistently. That was the first time I completely sold out. 90 days, every day, minimum 10 touch bases with people, and just go from there.
I like that.
Yeah. For me, it probably took close to 6 months where I kind of did see all the dividends that I did before kind of paying off. Because right in the beginning, I was like expecting, hey, people are gonna call me, right? Like, hey,
Well, we all do, man. We all do.
And then when the phone's not ringing, and then those payments are just going out, then that kind of triggers something. Hey, I gotta be more proactive. If I keep calling people and I'm on top of mind, always, that's gonna build that up. Then, like, say in June I was making all those calls, then I started to see a lot of those deals, those referrals, September. But then you always have to remember, just because you get the deals,
You gotta keep that
You gotta
wheel
keep-
turning.
yeah.
You gotta keep that.
building
That was a big
pipeline.
lesson
That's
for
why
me.
the team. That's why the team is
yeah,
important,
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
That's why
it's-
social media and branding, everything else is important.
So yeah, that now like we've implemented the team, because what was happening before, you get the deal, get the app, underwrite it, talk to the lender, get the check, they're like sweet, and they're like, oh shit,
Now what?
wow, where's the pipe, man?
Yeah.
So then now it's just like having the underwriter, the team, and with our assistant, we got the underwriter. Hey, next call. Let's keep it going. Now the pipe just staying full, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you start slacking 1 or 2 months, you got to make up like 3 months to catch up, right? So
It's not even 1 or 2
Yeah.
weeks. It's like 1 or 2 days,
Oh,
or
yeah,
a couple
that.
hours, man.
Yeah.
Right? That.
Yeah.
There's always somebody out there hustling, you know.
Oh,
when I
absolutely.
put down the phone and I'm like going to Tim Hortons, grabbing a drink or a coffee, I'm like, oh shit, man, Satpal's making 3 calls. Business here. It's taking my business. Hence why I got this here. I got other people calling your clients.
That's awesome.
Phones have been turned off as soon as we walk in here.
Yeah.
Perfect. plan.
And I'm getting sunny, dude. I'm getting sunny
Yeah.
today.
That's awesome.
For me, it took probably, I would say, first 6 months just getting my head around this here, right?
Mm.
And then after that, because in the beginning, I was always a tech guy, but the people around me were old school, and they said, no, don't look at Facebook, don't look at Google, don't get any leads from there. It's not the right way of doing it. And I listened to them because they were in the business for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, realize that just because you've been in the business for a long time doesn't mean you know a whole lot,
Mhm.
right? And especially today when things are changing. So getting rid of that and then figuring my own stuff and then going from there, I would say 6 months to a year for me,
Yeah.
right? Just testing and seeing what was working. I got into this industry having a very solid background, right? Having financially, I was set before I got in here. So, like, I didn't really have to hustle in the beginning, and it wasn't until I figured where I wanted to go and what areas I wanted to focus on, and then started to make the call. And after that, it was just shortly after it started picking up.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I was like I mentioned earlier, I learned from a cousin of mine who was already in the industry, so I had the luxury of sitting with him, watching and help work on his files that he was getting in, and I was kind of watching his activities and what he was doing. So I was doing deals right out the gate because I had his deals. I was underwriting his deals, so I kind of understand. Hey, okay, well, these are the lenders on this side compared to the credit union. You knew what only their rules were or their guidelines were. Now I had to learn Scotiabank, I had to learn TD, I had to learn First National, and all these other lenders. So I kind of took my time and learned how to structure deals. He showed me how to do that. And then I would say probably 3 to 4 months after I did all that and got a good grasp on that, then I started doing the calls and kind of booking appointments after that.
Sandy, that's good you said that. When I first started, I got into a brokerage shortly after I took off because it wasn't feeding me, not feeding me deals. It wasn't feeding me the information that I needed, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't happy, and then I joined a mortgage investment corporation, a MIC, and I got everything thrown at me then. You're sitting there, you're seeing every single types of deals. And I swear to God, man, in the first 2 years, I've probably seen more deals than probably a mortgage broker that's been doing it for 25 years. The amount of flow that was coming through, and you're seeing everything from like, $12 million commercial deals to like $50,000 small renovation, bathroom, kitchen renovation, right? You're seeing everything. And then I got to kind of pick there on what kind of deals I wanted to do. And it was great learning.
That's funny you mentioned that because where the brokerage we were in was also connected with a MIC BWR.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was learning the underwriting, I saw that aspect as well as you did. So I saw the deals that they were looking at too, which was just mind blowing. Because you come from the credit union, you see they're black or white. All of a sudden you come and you're with the mix, it's like this huge gray area. You're like, holy crap, you can structure it like this or that, and it makes sense. And it's just mind blowing. And I've always loved private lending since then.
Here's the thing: a lot of these mortgage brokers that are new, it doesn't have. It's not even in the mortgage business, like any business. It can be insurance, real estate, hairdressing, whatever. Right? If I was to start again, I would go pick somebody I wanted to be like. Right? I wanted to, be a mentor under and go and talk to them directly and go work for them.
Yeah.
And just learn there. I think that's just the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That was thrown to my lap. I just didn't even know it at the time.
Yeah.
But for anyone new, because anyone new that wants to get in here, they're just looking at the money. Well, that money's gonna easily go to zero very fast if you don't know what you're doing. So if you can go tag with somebody and one of these guys here, don't call me. Call these three here.
Yeah, and Snail, that's a good point as well. I think what's happening in the industry, like some of the brokers that we kind of mentor as well, sometimes like these guys get into the industry and they want the mortgage more than the client,
Yeah.
and then they never.
It's a
win.
money's game. They'll
It's
never
a money
win.
game.
Yeah.
Because the money's gone, they're gone. They're done.
Yeah, and
Nothing feeds them.
And I always tell them, I'm like, hey man, like, if you're chasing the paycheck, imagine trying to chase your shadow. It's like the same thing. You'll never catch up, and you'll never win in business. But if you try to build the relationships, the money will come, right? So that's I think a lot of new brokers, if they're listening, build relationships because the money will come after. Yeah.
I talk to a lot of mortgage brokers,
Yeah.
and I ask them always if tomorrow, today, you walk out of here, you get $10 million. What would you do different tomorrow? Right? And most of them
Also, Neil would be like, lend this out.
I would be here. I would be right here,
Yeah,
man. I would
yeah.
be doing the same damn thing. We might change a couple of things around,
Yeah,
100%.
but I would do the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing has changed for me.
Yeah.
And most of them like, oh, no, I'll go travel. I'll go start my fashion company. I'll do this. I'll do that. Then why don't you do that right now?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can't afford it. Here's the thing, right? You said kickboxing earlier, right? And if you like kickboxing, go and do more of it. Start podcasting about it. Go out and video record. Go talk to the juniors there, right? Because those juniors at 15, 16, 17, guess what? 10 years, they're going to be buying a house. They're coming to you, right? Now you're the mortgage kickboxing guy.
There's so
Right?
many
Like,
ways
there's
that-
so many ways
so
of doing
many
it.
ways that honestly, once I think you get out your own way and you give yourself permission to actually be yourself,
Yeah.
and like I think sometimes we get so attached to I'm a mortgage broker instead of I'm Ranj.
Yeah.
This is what I like.
Yeah.
I like cars, I like jokes,
Yeah.
I like fights.
Yeah.
Shit, I love deals.
Yeah.
I love looking at deals. I love thinking like, oh man, they structured it this. Like for me, there's something behind a deal because no two deals are really the same, right? You see it all the time.
Yeah.
It's-
But here's the thing I'm getting at here is
Yeah.
when you build that core where they know you as kickboxing, they're coming to you. Guess no bank is going to compete with you,
yeah.
regardless on if their dad sent them there or they have a cheaper rate. They're coming to you because you added them value
Yeah.
and because they have something in common, similarity.
That's it.
100%.
Right? That's all it comes down to, man.
Yeah.
And then you can go approach RCMP and police officers, man, because it's something that
Right
you
across
want
the
to do.
street.
Right? Like still, and come on, those guys will qualify just about anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
Absolutely, yeah.
and you can go after all the dental hygienists.
Get some free toothbrushes and stuff.
From Kim, when is the right time to buy a house?
No.
Now, Kim, for me, it depends what area you're in. And this is my opinion, coming and with my experience, I don't plan on buying a house for the next 10 years. Reason being is I'd rather deploy capital into my business because I think the growth of my business will supersede than real estate. And this is coming from me being single and having no children. It works for me, but for yourself, I would really sit there and think if you have kids and they're in school age, then maybe it's an opportunity to purchase. But if you're not and you don't have children, test out different areas, see different things.
You gotta forecast financially where you're gonna be, where you're kind of headed in the financial world and your personal life, right? And then you can kind of make that jump, because sometimes we do see it on our side where people bite off too much, and then they're like, especially in a market like this where things are taking a while to sell, then you might regret that decision. So I think pulling that trigger very carefully, and like you said, depending on the market that you're going to be buying in, and just your lifestyle, what your goals are. I think you got to take that all into consideration before you hand over that deposit.
I think the big thing that I would say is, are you buying to invest and grow your money, or are you buying to like buy yourself a home? If you're buying for a home, you're probably gonna live there, you're gonna keep rolling that money.
Yeah.
That's a whole different game. But if you're looking at something on the investment side, it's always different, because like Sunil's experience, he looks at money completely different, right? Even from my experience, I know that a lot of us in our culture, we're always taught that invest in a house, that's the safest way. You're gonna double your money. But I see money completely different now than my parents see it, because of our exposure to it.
Generational changes.
My whole thought process on it is, if I can take this capital and lend it out at this, gain 60% lent, whatever it is. My whole perception is different, but I would just say, depending on what your goals are, if you're buying a house, tired of renting, that's a different conversation. But if you're looking at an investment, that's a completely different conversation as well.
Just working on numbers. This conversation I was having with my mom this weekend, where everything in a house has expiration, right? Your roof 25 years, your hot water tank 7 years, painting every 2 years, maintenance like cutting the grass and gardening. That's almost daily, right? Yeah. Cutting grass weekly. Like everything has expiration, and then the amount of money it costs. And your weekends are gone. If you live in a climate like Vancouver, where it's raining 7 months out of the year, you have 5 months, right? Like, the last thing I want to do is working 12, 14 hours at the office here and going home and, I got to paint the house this weekend. This is something that doesn't drive me, right? And the amount of money that you need to pay into all this, and then don't forget property taxes, and then repairs and maintenance. Like, there's so many things that people don't take into consideration. Only thing they're looking at is like, okay, this is the purchase price, right? This is my monthly payment. That's all they're looking at. How about your car payment, right? Or like, I don't know why the fuck somebody has a car payment in today's day and age. Like, come on, get rid of car payment. Buy something you can afford. And then after that, food bill and going out. And like, there's everything that, racking up. And what are you saving at the end? Most people aren't.
Yeah.
Right? They're making 80,000, 90,000, but they're spending 110, 120.
That's it. They're house poor.
House poor, yeah.
It's a different conversation, because for us, once we see how much interest actually gets spent over a term, and you factor that in. So when flipping assignments were big last couple of years, I made 100,000. No, you didn't. Factor in your taxes, factor in your time, factor in this. But you would have so many people talking and making it much sexier than it was. But when you're like us and you look at the numbers, you're like, okay, you did that, that's cool. But if you actually break down the numbers and everything, it's a little bit different. So
you would have made more working at Starbucks.
100%.
Some of the projects that I've seen. Right?
Yeah.
From Alex, what's the fastest way to acquire product knowledge and serve your customers at a reasonable level as a mortgage agent?
For me, leveraging an underwriter, having somebody that's what they love to do. I mean, for us, it's very simple. If you love people and you love the social part of the job, like I like, just connecting with people, meeting with them, your income, you're going to pretty much know standard what you need to do. But you can really focus on developing that relationship, while somebody who might not want to do that as much, they love the knowledge side. They love reading policies.
That's it.
I feel like slapping myself in the face with the policy update or whatever it is. I could care less.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that it's okay not to know everything. It's better to have somebody, Henry Ford didn't know how to build a motor. He just said, listen, I want 8 cylinders cast in this. The guy had no education, but he knew the right people who knew. So I would say, spend some time and think about what your skill set really is. And just take a look if you can leverage somebody else, and if that's their skill set. Eventually you do enough volume that way, you'll start to see different things. But you can double and triple down on what your skill set is and get a good amount of volume coming in right away.
Exactly. And if you do really want to know about policies and whatnot, reach out to your BDMs of these lenders. So you reach out to them, they'll come meet you and give you all their policies, and go at it if you really want to learn all that.
Most of them are pretty awesome as well. I mean, once you have a deal and you're unsure, like, you're gonna know the income, you're gonna know the debt, you're gonna know their credit. Just put a little write-up together and send it to them. You can work through each individual deal one at a time. So I think sometimes it's easier to just go bite by bite rather than anticipating the 10th or 8th bite when the food's not even in front of you.
Yeah.
Well, because if you get so stuck on like studying like different type of products and stuff, you know what you're gonna forget to do? Call clients,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
build a database. You know, the best learning experience is get the goddamn deal, then figure it out.
Yeah.
Like you talk to your BDM, talk to a mentor. If you got a co-broker, a tough deal, you have people to reach out to. So I think don't get sucked into reading those 50 pages of policy. Build your database, build your pipeline.
I think what this industry is missing,
Yeah.
the mortgage industry, is I believe an apprenticeship. First 2 years you need to be under somebody. Not, they say first 2 years you need to be under a brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
I think first 2 years you need to be under, somebody that's been doing this for the last 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
right? And copying them and seeing what they're doing. I think it's just a way, if you really want this thing to grow, but I think most people are in there for the cash,
Yeah,
for the fast
that's it.
cash. That's
Yeah.
what it's coming down to. When you get out there and you start working, all this stuff you'll learn fast, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I'm not sure about you guys, but for me, if somebody ever comes into my office that's starting a business or been in it for 4 or 5 years, I'm more than happy to give my advice.
Mhm.
More than happy, right? Because I wish somebody was there for me. And I think if somebody goes into an office and says, "Hey, look, I got this deal. I don't know how to put it together. Can you help me out here?" I think chances are somebody's gonna help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For sure.
And
It's
that's
just coming down to reaching out.
Yeah, and that's a big thing as well with, brokering. Our whole thing is you can get a deal and broker it with somebody else. So when it doesn't become about the money and it really is about knowledge, and you start realizing that, okay, if I do call Sunny, or, if I do call Sunil, yeah, obviously you guys are taking time. You guys are going to want some of that, whatever it is. So being okay with that initially in your early learning stages, because, making 100% of zero is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you're really after knowledge and you're really after building a business, having different contacts that are actively brokering, having those BDMs, having those people, and being okay with, paying for the knowledge, because everything costs money these days, or time, right?
Shit, come in here. I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Come ask me. Like I will give that
Yeah.
advice all day
Yeah.
long, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go talk to them. Like, oh, that's it. It's just adding value to somebody.
Another one from Alex. How did you solve the following problem? Realtor sends you the lead shops around but no commitment to fill application or send documents, multiple follow-ups, and the lead goes cold.
So for me, like I don't mind. Like if I ask a client right up front, like, hey, these are the banks that we work. Hey, we want to shop around. Like for me, I really respect my time, and time is very, very valuable and stuff. So I just tell them like, hey man, we might not be the right fit, because I work with clients that are fully dedicated, and I work X number of hours on my files and stuff. And definitely go try out different options. I encourage you, but if things are not working out there, just call me back. So for me, like with my client, the relationships that I build, I know they're not shopping, and I think you really gotta really, really respect your time. If they're not filling out an app,
That's
you
a
know
red
what,
flag.
it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Just bypass like the time that you're gonna spend. Hey, did you fill out my app? Hey man, I emailed you. You didn't get it. Here, I'll email it to you again. You could have made 5 different phone calls and got 5 brand new leads.
Yep.
So for me, it's I just work with a dedicated group of clients that are based off relationship and referrals. So that's just how I run my business.
I do the same thing. Your self-esteem is much higher. Could you imagine, you're chasing a girl and she asks you out on a date, you guys set a time, you go there, she doesn't show up, and you do this 8 weeks in a row? It's the same thing with clients. We're not going to win every single client. Every person is not going to be for us. But when we, like Satpal says, you respect yourself and you just set that expectation with them, right? If somebody doesn't, a big no-no for me is if a client can't make the time to see me at the office, that's a no. Right? Because if we're in this together to get something done and I'm helping 5-10 other people at the same time, all the bare minimum I need is just come to me.
Yeah.
Or we can do it online. I can send you the application, let you know. But if I got to chase you around to get the basics done, chances are it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just do your regular standard touch points. Try, I would say between 3 to 4 times. If by then you don't have an app and they're not engaged or they're not answering, I would just
But you know, I think, Sonny, you know, the big where brokers really screw up is setting the expectation on the first phone call.
Yeah.
Like when I talk to a client, hey, but I have access to many different banks. Shopping around will actually hurt your profile. Like depending on, like, I work directly with TD. I know your dad opened your bank account there. Hey man, we work with TD. But if you don't set that expectation, and you make the conversation just about rates and stuff, you're gonna lose the client. And I think if you, in the end, you're gonna waste time just chasing the client, right? So
For me, it's 24 hours.
yeah,
Right, I send, and being the private market it's always last resort, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's either foreclosure and they got contact the sale. We need to close this, fund this now, or some bank pulled out. This is closing tomorrow. Let's get it done. Everything goes out, right? If I don't get it back within 24 hours, like, yeah, they're wasting time. Don't even, just cut it. I don't even do anything after that.
yeah.
Because if somebody needs that money fast, trust me, they're coming in here with a shitload of paperwork,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or they're going to be firing emails back and forth and texts and calls. Can't know these guys are serious. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, in developing your business, you also want to develop your clients and how they work with you. Because if you're constantly changing your style, adapting to different people, you're never really going to have a system in place. And I think if you take that long-term approach of, this is my system, I'm not going to break this system, it's scalable for you, it's easy, it's predictable, and it's always, everything that I've seen, and a lot of my friends are in the industry, whether real estate or this side, if somebody doesn't give you that initial, if they don't send the application within 24 hours or sign a, exclusive agreement on the real estate side, they're shopping.
They are.
And
Exactly.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Let them.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But it's up to you if you want that to be a part of your business cycle. I don't like it, so I don't mess around with that. But it's completely up to you with what you want to do.
Those are the things they have control over. Sure, sometimes financial statements you don't have, you need to contact your accountant or fund. I get that. But a simple application with a signature is all up to you.
Yeah.
You can't find a printer? Take a photo with your phone and send it.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Like everyone can get that down, man.
100%.
Dylan, got anything else?
Yeah,
Or
one more question
all right.
from Peter. How do you balance your mortgage business with your family?
Great question.
What the hell's balance?
Yeah, balance.
Please slow down.
It's pretty tough for myself. We had our second child just about a little over a month ago.
Yeah.
Sonny had a full set of hair about a month
Yeah.
ago. That's how unbalanced it's been, guys.
So I mean, it's tough sometimes, especially when life events happen, like such as children, marriage, whatever it may be. It's about how many hours in a day we have? 24. Okay, you sleep for what, maybe 5, 6. You just have to be organized and plan everything out. Okay, make time for your family. Okay, well, I know from this time to this time I have to be at the office doing my calls or meeting clients or whatever you need to do. Then, okay, I got this set of time. And you gotta count, like, just basically track everything, plan everything out to have some time. Like, I have designated time for my family in the evening time. I know I'm going to spend at least an hour before my daughter goes to bed with her, and so she sees me too, right? I don't want to leave the house while she's sleeping and come home and she's sleeping again. So you got to just kind of etch that out, and you got to just, regardless of whatever's happening, make that time, because that's who you're working for. If you can't be there for your family, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? If you gotta have that, unless like I mean, sometimes emergencies come up. I can understand that maybe you don't come home one time one day, but for the most part, I'm married to my schedule.
Yeah.
Just do your best. Keep it simple. You're never going to be in balance.
Yeah.
Life's always going to shift, and different things are always going to change. And I think if you have this concept that one day you're going to have a perfect equilibrium, you're chasing a ghost.
Yeah.
If just do your best as things come, communicate as best as you can, plan as best as you can. But you also got to give yourself that space that if you mess up, you're learning. We're all learning, right? Like every single person in this room, we're all learning. Whether it's in our business, our personal side, whatever it might be. So I think having that little bit of a relaxed bit about it, but still you want to do your best. You want to have a schedule. You want to set time out to do, spend time with your family or have your business. And this all comes down to like that self-awareness, just planning and just doing your best.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like I take a very systematic approach. Like my schedule's like set in stone. Like just having the right team around you. For me, it's like, especially with my daughter, like I don't like work on weekends. because I know I'm gonna like maybe like during the week I'm gonna have a lot of work to do, but on weekends I want to spend that quality family time, but still be able to answer texts and like phones here and there. But I just don't have meetings, and if you kind of set that in stone with a lot of my like clients and stuff, they know, hey, on the weekends we can just call, email Satpal, like that's all good. During the week we can meet him when he's back in the office. So I think just setting in stone instead of like we're talking about the mortgage application, instead of chasing it,
Yeah.
right? If you kind of set that expectation with your clients, then you might have some balance, some. Yeah.
This is good. I love how this is closing. For me, Monday to Friday, for me, it's 100% business. There's nothing else. It's just a grind. Friday night, Saturday night is friends. Saturday during the daytime, I come into the office. It's the time where it's quiet. It's just me, and I get a lot done. Sunday is strictly family, except football season. Then family gets shifted over to Saturday.
Yeah.
That's my day. But most importantly here is me time.
Yeah.
My me time is very important. That's when everything aligns. That's when my head gets clear, my heart gets clear. Everything's there, and for me, that's first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I wake up, whatever it is, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, and I make sure I got the hour for myself.
Yeah.
Nobody around, just quiet and focus on. And it's amazing how much better I become just because of that.
You're building, like, everything that we do, it always comes down to our relationship with ourselves, right? So, I mean, we talk about this a lot in the office, and even for myself, like, mind, body, soul before coming to work, a little bit of movement. I know for me, meditation is huge. And I used to try and be so rigid with it. I'm not anymore. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, whatever, but it's as needed. So even midday, if I feel a little bit out of balance, I'll take 5 minutes, because I know that when I'm in that good space, that everything else clicks, and I know what I'm kind of working towards and stuff like that. But I think that early morning hour to yourself is absolutely key.
Well, yeah, whenever you can, me time.
Yeah.
Everyone just it's always about family, it's about work, me time, right? If at the gym or driving, whatever, just have that time.
Yeah.
Very important. Gents, thanks for coming down. Really appreciate
Thank
all
you.
you guys.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
listening.
us.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll have links to all these guys down below. Matrixx as well.
So,
Thank you.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Bye.
Alrighty.